What is up, my dudes and dudettes? Welcome back. Hope you guys had a great 4th of July and hopefully not celebrating the cursed 5th of July as I'm celebrating today. It's not good. Anyway, today we have something really special for you. CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, is going to be speaking with Fox News. We're going to be covering it with live commentary, live thoughts, all the goodies, everything you like. So make sure you smash the likes on the stream, subscribe, share. You know the deal. Check out our sponsors, Fairdesk and Femex, in the video description below and pinned to the top of the chat. Behind me, I have all of the current ETF filings. We have ARC21, iShares, that would be BlackRock, Bitwise, VanEck, Wisdom Tree, Investo, Wise Origin, Bitcoin Trust, and Valkyrie. I'm going to hide my myself here really quick so you can get a look at that. You can pause it, check it out. This has all of the SEC final deadlines, next deadlines, custodians, exchanges, etc. As we know, BlackRock was basically rejected on their filing, saying that they had some issues. What's interesting to me is how quickly they got that feedback. If you guys have been following ARC's BTF filing, we have had to wait months between literally everything. We've had to wait months. Any filing, any issues. BlackRock getting the white glove treatment, it seems. Getting immediate feedback on their filing, naming Coinbase as their custodian and their watchdog, something like that. Something that is unique. It seems, maybe actually not, now that I look at it, is BlackRock, or I Trust, is filing with the exchange of NASDAQ, where we see ARC, we see VanEck, Wisdom Tree, all of the classic filings on CBOE. I'm not sure the impact of that, but it is something that stands out, and certainly the response they're getting from the SEC is different. So we have about -1 minutes now, something like that. -1. Let me hold in here. Yep. It's supposed to be at 3:30. I guess they're running a little late. It's 3:31, but Fink should be here in just a second. Let's pull this up. Fox Business, you can tune in live there. Check it out. Should be any second. Looking at Meta? I don't know. Turn this back down for a second. Bitcoin, over the celebration, over the 4th, not really doing much. We did see on the 3rd a nice little rally to a slightly lower high. On the 3rd of July, we have seen selling on the 4th. And even into the 5th. Looking at this, let's see, slightly higher than a few days ago on the 2nd. Not a bad place to bounce if it actually can hold up here. Weekly looking a little grim. It is still early in the week, but looking at a little doji, not the most beautiful candle. Really want to see some upside into this weekly close to fix that up. Some good signs. Market Cipher B giving us some green money flow on the weekly. This has really not been true. We had a very brief period in April. We had positive money flow in the week, but we do see a higher low here, and that usually is what we look for that to roll over, to go from negative money leaving the Bitcoin market on the weekly time frame to entering the market on a weekly time frame. This is definitely a good signal, but we're going to have to hold out to see what happens. What is going on here? What is happening with this? It's supposed to be 3:30. They're really going to have BlackRock, Larry Fink? They're really going to keep him waiting? What's happening? What's happening? Why is it not happening yet? I'm watching this in real time with you guys, so wait. What is this? Isn't it either? What are these people doing? We're going to have to cut all this out.
A waterfall or something.
What is going
Dave
on?
Zook can imagine that. You're building, you were tiny house before tiny house was cool.
Tiny houses.
Way before it was cool.
Yeah.
They're going to have tiny houses on before BlackRock CEO. No one cares about tiny houses, Fox Business. Give us Larry. Hey, well, they said 3:30. We'll chill here and wait until. Thanks for joining us, by the way. We have 320 viewers. Let's hope we can get up to 500, up to 1,000, because this is going to be very spicy. Going to be adding some clarity here, what BlackRock is doing, what is on their mind. Fox Business seems to think that BlackRock is bullish on Bitcoin, and specifically Larry Fink. They said that earlier in the episode. I'll be the judge of that. I'll be the judge. Why are they talking about tiny houses? This was supposed to be at 3:30. Now I gotta like wing it. I didn't really think of anything to talk about before because this was supposed to happen. Maybe it's at 3:45. Huh, that'll give us some time to go through some charts, maybe? I don't know. What are you guys thinking? What are you feeling? Did you enjoy your fourth? Are you enjoying your fifth? That's the real test. We'll take a peek here. Something that did catch my eye. So we just looked at Bitcoin. We noticed let me make sure that's on. We did notice that we have seen sell-offs and a lower high in the last 2 days. Interesting. GBTC, or Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, trading at a deep premium, but that's slowly being removed or eaten away at here. We can see yesterday GBTC hitting a new yearly high, diverging from spot Bitcoin. An interesting tell. Perhaps people are getting more bullish on GBTC as we get closer to this unknown ETF approval. In my opinion, we're certainly not going to see an approval or denial here today. This is just news reporting. This is not the SEC. But we've been playing this game since 2018 of ETF approval, pump dump, etc. It is inevitable that a Bitcoin spot ETF is approved. The real question is when. I don't have the answer for that, but I would caution anyone getting a little too energetic over any ETF approval hype. We've seen these get shot down over and over again. Oh. Wait.
ETF application after the SEC sent it back to the drawing board. What's the world's biggest asset manager doing to pass go when it comes to greenlighting from regulators? In a Fox Business exclusive, we'll ask BlackRock CEO and Chairman Larry Fink next. You know, at 30,000 feet, because he can't specifically get into details. The SEC will be all annoyed. But plus, does he think the regional bank crisis is truly in the rearview mirror? Where does he see the markets going? And not that there's a Kendall Roy waiting in the wings ready to snatch Larry's office.
He looks like a
zombie. What's his succession plan at BlackRock? All that and more with Larry Fink right after the break.
Right after the break. Gotta wait a little bit longer. Maybe 8 My Pillow commercials, and then Fink will be on. So let's talk about GBTC. Maybe this bullishness as this ETF approaches. I think this will be a very good signal to watch. If GBTC continues higher, we have let's look at our monthly here. We have our 618 retracement. This was also where it found support in 21 and 22 at around $25. A move towards there, I think, is going to be a precursor to an ETF approval. I think this is going to be potentially a front-running signal, not a lagging indicator, but a front-running indicator. If GBTC continues to diverge, if we see that premium continue to be eaten away, it is likely that the ETF is approaching or getting closer. Again, that timeline, no one knows. Your guess is as good as mine. But we do see it diverging. It has put in higher highs. That's an interesting take. And we have a few other things we can look at here that might be good indicators of the ETF's eminence. Coinbase stock. Coin has been named as the custodian and also as, I believe, the watchdog for the BlackRock ETF. And Coin is also making moves here on its third green monthly candle, trading about $80. We looked at this in the last stream. On the monthly time frame, we are potentially seeing an inverse head and shoulders with a neckline around 68.80. This could be a decent place for a trade. If we see a pullback to that range, that would complete the classic inverse head and shoulders. Let me reverse that for you. This is a pretty strong looking chart. Now, we do have a lot of ground to make up looking at Coin. A lot of ground. It opened trading up to 420, blaze it. Speaking of which, let's get 420 likes so we all can blaze it. It opened to 420 and basically just ate it ever since. Around June of 22, it began to bottom out, trade sideways. We didn't see those steep declines. Things started to look pretty good. If we use our Fibonacci extension and retracement tool, our measured move was at $47. I believe Coin traded as low as 30, which is actually significantly lower. Not as good of a point as I was hoping. 31.55, yeah, it's pretty low. But gave us a good idea of where we might look for it to bottom. We have a lot of inefficiency in this chart. Basically, Coinbase from 111, from August's high, all the way to about $190. We have a big void of very low volume, very inefficient price action, and markets do tend to fill this in. We see this regularly on this channel, doing the live TA. Let's actually see, does this line up? Not really. 382 retrace. Major resistance on coin, absolutely going to be around 238. If it gets there, we have pretty gnarly order block here. Likely to find some resistance or some profit taking up in the zone. I'm thinking coin goes for it. MicroStrategy, another potential leading indicator of an ETF and or just a bull market in general. We looked at this on stream. MicroStrategy, which is unofficially acting as a spot Bitcoin ETF right now, did put in new highs yesterday and today. No, it wasn't yesterday. It was the 3rd of July. Markets were closed yesterday. Putting in a higher high here today. MicroStrategy looking pretty good, close to that 500 mark. That would be resistance from March of 22. A move towards the zone, another decent, potentially front-running indicator of a Bitcoin spot ETF approval. So we have GBTC, Coin, MicroStrategy, all potentially good charts to be looking at over the next few months, and maybe even during this live interview with Larry Fink. I don't know. We will see. We'll check in really quick here. Litecoin, you guys remember me putting a trade at $100 on Litecoin. It did trade down to 98.60, and I can pull up those trades for you because I think we have a minute. We have 8 more pillow commercials to watch before Fink comes on. Not really. It's probably in just a minute here. Let me go over the trades if I have enough time. Boom. As you can see, we got pretty riggedy wrecked on some of those longs. Let's go to closed positions. A few we had moved the stops up into profit, most of which, though, ended up getting stopped out. We were really hoping for a bounce around 30.6. We fell lower, much lower, to 30.2 it looks like. So a lot of those longs you guys voted for stopped out. Here are my open positions currently. That Litecoin long doing okay, up 5%. Of course, our long from much earlier chilling in profit, and this short, being short. Let's make this bigger. There we go. The other account on here, the short, I opened a short. If you're in the Discord, great reason to join the Discord. I give updates to the stream's live trades. I announced I'm taking a short out here. I posted it immediately to the Discord. That was at 31.2. 6% up, a nice $230 in profit. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. She's still talking, this person.
Has pulled off an absolute moonshot. The crypto of record has soared 83%, with a good chunk of it coming since June 15th. That's when BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, filed an application for a spot Bitcoin Trust ETF. BlackRock's iShares joins a crowd of fund managers from ARK to Invesco, VanEck, Grayscale, all these other fund companies that have been desperate to do the same, but they've been turned away by the SEC's bouncers, namely Chief Bouncer Gary Gensler. BlackRock's first application, actually, it's already been kicked back. The SEC demanded it name a surveillance partner to spot things like fraud and manipulation. And late last week, BlackRock and NASDAQ refiled, naming Coinbase as the custodial surveillance partner of the spot Bitcoin Trust. The crypto world pinning its hopes on BlackRock, which has a track record regulators say they find too good to reject. At least that's what people think. BlackRock's 576 ETF applications, 575 have been accepted, and just one has been rejected.
This is not really a good comparison for one reason. 575 ETFs on normal regulated goods, very different than Bitcoin. Oop, here we go. I'm going to shut up.
Larry Fink, along with Charlie Gasparino. Great to have you, Larry.
Liz, Charlie, it's good to be here on a summer day.
Yeah, and we're cool in here.
We are.
Larry, I know that per SEC regulations, you cannot get into specifics. But as you look at all of your track records when it comes to iShares and approvals, how do these things work out? How long does it take? And what do you think odds are of any of your ETFs that you float getting accepted?
Well, we try to do what's right for the long-term investor, and I think we have a good track record working with our regulators and trying to making sure we're thinking about all the issues around any filing. And so I can't get into the specifics of this filing, but I think the chart speaks quite well. We work really closely with our regulators, and we want to hear from the regulators what are their issues and how can we fix those issues around that. So we hope that, like in the past, we could be working with our regulators regulators and get the filing approved one day. And I have no idea what that one day will be, but and so we'll see how that all plays out. Specifically on Bitcoin, as I've said in the past, we're a believer in digitization of products. ETFs was a big revolution for the mutual fund industry, and it's really taking over the mutual fund industry. And we do believe that if we can create more tokenization of assets and securities, and that's what Bitcoin is, it could revolutionize again finance. And so we look at this as an opportunity to move one step further in terms of providing investors fractions of shares, fractions of this, democratizing the cost of investing. Over the last 10 years, we've lowered the cost of iShares ETFs by 30%. So what we're trying to do is make it more accessible and more easy. The attempt in terms of what we're trying to do with crypto is make it more democratized with all of crypto and making it much cheaper for investors. Right now, the bid-ask spread for crypto is very expensive. It does erode a lot of the returns that you speak about because it costs a lot of money right now to transact Bitcoin, and it costs a lot of money to get out of that. And so we hope our regulators look at these filings as a way to democratize crypto, and we'll see in the future how that plays out.
You were never a crypto skeptic like Buffett. I mean, Buffett and Charlie Munger come out and they say all this bad stuff about it. But you were kind of skeptical.
Yeah, I was skeptical because the early users it was heavily used for, let's say, illicit activities.
No.
And I think as it became more accessible, and also I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold in many ways. Instead of investing in gold as a hedge against inflation, a hedge against the onerous problems of any one country, or the devaluation of your currency, whatever country you're in, let's be clear. Bitcoin is an international asset. It's not based on any one currency. And so it can represent an asset that people can play as an alternative. I would call the foundation of BlackRock is about hope. You invest for retirement because you believe tomorrow is better than today.
Right, but hasn't the technology sort of diverged from the value of the digital coins? I mean, I don't know a lot of people who use the blockchain.
That's because you're
Bitcoin,
1,000
technology to transact. I know a lot of people hold Bitcoin. You don't hold Bitcoin, right?
I don't own anything other than mutual funds and
BlackRock,
ETFs, BlackRock shares.
Okay, but you see what I'm saying? There's been advancement. There's a utility, it seems, out of nowhere about this digital coin. I don't see the utility in the underlying
No one cares what you think,
technology.
But let Larry talk.
Isn't that bad?
Well, no, I actually believe the underlying technology is fantastic because
Larry's
the
smart.
blockchain will help you accelerate the processes of transactions. The blockchain will help you identify. I mean, let's be clear. If you have a pure blockchain and you have knowledge of who the buyers and sellers are, we could then, we don't need custodians anymore.
Okay.
We don't need, the whole process of finance. Some of the intermediaries are broken down. And so this is why we're all studying.
But we're not there.
We're not close to there.
But
it's an advancement of technology. I mean, it's no different than the spirit around AI and what AI can do.
Larry, as we look at the broader market here,
smart.
We have come out of a bank crisis. I don't know, it was a mini
crisis,
fit or something like that.
A little mini crisis.
Didn't feel mini to the banks that went under, three of them.
Yes.
But the very issues that put those banks under, whether it was bank management in relation to higher interest rates, have not gone away. Now we've got the roller coaster coming right at commercial real estate.
Yes.
Are there more banks that you foresee failing, whether they are the regionals? We just talked to David Rubenstein at the top of the show, and he thinks maybe in a couple of years we will see some of these go away.
We have 4,400 banks. We have more banks in the United States than any country.
Everyone keeps repeating that.
We believe in local banks, so we have a strong foundational belief that local banks are good. But to have 4,400 maybe is too many.
What?
Liz, you framed it perfectly. I believe interest rates are going to continue to go higher. I think the Federal Reserve is going to have to do minimum of 2, but maybe as much as 4 more tightening.
4 more rate, 25 basis points.
25 basis points, another 100 basis points. I actually believe inflation is stickier and more structural. And so I see a future of higher interest rates. Higher interest rates is going to create more stress in commercial real estate. Commercial real estate is the largest asset category of regional banks. And so there may be stresses.
That's a problem.
But the first 3 banks did not have stress on credit. They had stress on their mismatch of their assets and liabilities. Could we move towards more of a crisis towards credit? Absolutely. Is that systemic? Probably not. It's not. It doesn't have to be systemic.
It's not the big banks. I mean,
it's not the big banks. And more importantly, the economy is really strong now and getting stronger. It's not getting weaker. We have the 3 large stimulus packages that were enacted over the last year, the Infrastructure Act, the CHIPS Act, and the IRA. It's all just starting the J curve. This is going to, and it was $1 trillion over many years, of stimulus. It's just entering the economy.
Some say it's been too much.
Yes,
Too much
but it's entering the economy at the same time.
Where are we in the cycle of spending that? Do you know? Halfway, 3/4?
5%. Whoa!
That's it.
What?
We're just starting, Charlie. This is just happening. And so think about how many jobs it takes to rebuild airports and freeways and ports. The job demand from these acts is going to be enormous. And so here we are talking about commercial real estate as it may be a problem, but the stimulus that we're going to see in the other parts of the economy is extraordinary. And owning companies that are involved in the rebuilding of our infrastructure, these are going to be good long-term holds.
Well, some of that has to do with what you have been behind for many years, and that's ESG,
Right.
environmental, social, and
We could say
governance.
those words, right?
I don't say them anymore.
We won't go there.
Larry, much of the nation is broiling hot right now. I mean,
Yes.
we can throw up a weather map, and it is pretty unbelievable. A lot of records have been broken,
Yes.
particularly in the Southwest, Texas.
Why are we talking about temperatures now with the CEO of BlackRock?
It's been nuts. They hit 116 degrees. Last week, the state hit a new record for electricity demand.
Yes.
But what's interesting is much of that demand, as conditioners are running at full speed, comes from sustainable.
Yes.
So whether that's solar
Yes.
or
Wind.
wind,
Yes.
it's filling that demand. And yet, the state of Texas doesn't like you guys.
No, look, Texas is, but people don't understand. Texas is the #1 state now in renewables. It is also obviously the largest state in terms of traditional energy, traditional power. And so we look at this, that we need power in both traditionals and renewables. And we're going to be announcing a big transaction with a traditional energy company that's heavily in the gas, and we're helping them move towards more sequestration. And so our job is to be working on behalf of the asset owners. I mean, we're the largest asset manager. That means none of the money is ours. We're working with all the asset owners and trying to help them on long-term solutions. And part of the long-term solution is working on decarbonization. And hopefully we could develop new technology to bring down the cost even
But
more.
let's be clear, Charlie, and you've seen this.
Yeah.
BlackRock has hundreds of funds with fossil fuel
Totally.
companies.
200
we
billion,
can
right?
put
Is
up
that the
a
number?
bunch of them
We're
right
more
now.
than that. Worldwide, over 380 billion.
Correct.
That's
380 billion, and it's
amazing.
something like
We're the largest-
500 of your funds, or,
Yeah.
or have at least one or two names.
So you're the
within
largest
them.
sin stock investor in the world.
Well, I want to call it sin stocks. We have to rely on traditional energy. At the same time, we need to aggressively build decarbonization technology to offset the demand. But that's going to take years and years and years and years. And and so the question is, do we have the time? You were talking about record heat. The thing that I focus on, and we're not spending enough time on, is what's going on in homeowners insurance. In the state of Florida and the state of Texas, state of California, major property and casualty companies big brands are leaving the States because they can't elevate the price to meet their returns on homeowners. And we're displacing, really a large segment of America today that are not going to be able to afford homeowners insurance if they are in an area of risk. To me, that's where climate is investment risk. And that's what I wrote about.
So why not say ESG anymore?
Because it's been weaponized by the far left and weaponized by the far right, and we lose a conversation.
Maybe go to GSE. I can't help but laugh about this because it sounds so. The attacks on you are kind of absurd because I see Texas coming after you on ESG. I see Republicans. I see that guy from New York, Brad Lander, the control of New York,
attacking us and not doing enough.
Not doing enough. We want you to get out of all of it, and you say I can't do that.
And we can't look at our job is to do what our clients are asking them to do, and we do a very good job. And despite all the narrative last year. Yeah. We were awarded over $400 billion in net new assets.
Yeah, you guys have $9 trillion now, right?
Over $9 trillion.
Yeah, no one's holding a gun to their head.
No, but our clients are coming to BlackRock more today than ever in the history. So despite all the narrative, because we're a fiduciary, we do what our clients are asking them, and we have good performance, and we've been right on market calls. And,
that's true.
And so
people forget your background as a bond trader, as a risk manager. You created BlackRock for nothing. It was dedicated to risk management,
correct? Because
of your experience in the mortgage-backed market back in the day. Yeah. And you've been really good at that for a really long time, and it gets sort of swept away. I know too much about you. I've known you for years. You look the same, but you're not. But you are getting older.
I am getting older.
I'm not going to ask you.
By the
way,
we
like this guy on the show.
Trust me, I know that. Are you going to step down anytime soon?
There's no plans. I mean, I love my job, but at the same time, we are really building a management team.
Right.
It's not about one person. I mean, everyone thinks about, okay, who's that named person or named two people? We're spending so much time in making sure we have a team. And I'm very proud of the point right now that I actually believe when the time is right for me to stand down, that I actually believe we elevate one or two people. And I believe the majority of those leaders who are thinking they have that opportunity will be at the firm.
So they're at the firm. It's not going to be like some people say. Maybe you'll bring in Greg Fleming, good friend of yours.
No, absolutely not.
I mean,
but what I'm trying to make sure is that when there's that time, it's not we anoint one or two people and three people leave. I'm trying to build a team that whoever is named 1 and 2. That the remainder team wants to be part of that new team.
Let me ask you about...
That's how to build an organization.
Let me ask you about two competitors.
Yeah.
Start with Morgan Stanley. Mm-hmm. There's a race to replace James Gorman at the top. Andy Saperstein, who runs brokerage. Ted Pick, who runs risk. Who do you think?
I wouldn't know. I mean, I think James has done a great job of having 3 people who are next in line, and the key is the same idea. Hopefully, whoever is named, the other 2 stay on. That's what you want. You want to. You don't want to have what happened in GE historically when one person is anointed and the whole team dispersed.
Well, Jack told him to leave, didn't he?
Yes, and I think that history will show that was a mistake. We're trying to build a team, and elevating 1 or 2 people doesn't mean other people are losers. And we're trying to keep continuity and making sure that we have a management team that is ready to run in and become better than what I've done.
But you wouldn't be that guy like Iger who's, I'll come back. Let me come back and save the day.
That would be a disaster.
I'm saving the day.
Why?
Because I don't, you know what? I want the next team to be better than me.
And I'm very few CEOs,
so
CEOs say that.
down.
No, but
then
I'm
they
a
get
founder.
Annoyed when they're successful.
But I'm a founder, and I think founders.
But that's right. You created this.
And
thing.
I want this
that's
firm
true.
to do so much better than.
But look what's happening at Goldman. This is now. If you don't want to answer it, I'm not going to bust your chops.
I'm not going to answer it. So.
But look, it's clearly a little this give and take between Lloyd Blankfein, the former CEO, the current guy Solomon, and Lloyd going around saying he doesn't like the fact that David does.
I will not be doing that. Whatever that may be.
Do you think David? Wait a second. Let me ask you.
I hope I'll be, enjoying my grandchildren.
You will be.
Okay.
But I need to ask you: is that guy getting a bad rap? Not you. I know you are, but David Solomon.
I think David has done a good job over time. I mean, it's obvious that there is a schism within the organization, and I think David has led the firm properly. I think he's elevated the firm. The firm is a better firm today than it was 5 years ago. And so I don't know the inner dealings. I don't spend much time focusing on.
It does not seem like they're talking anymore about the ETF. That was really clicky baity of them, but who am I to judge? Now they're getting into like if they're replacing him, I don't know, weather, temperature. We can hold on a little bit, see if there's a little more Bitcoin talk, but something tells me they've moved on.
It creates more fear. There's more fear in America today than in my lifetime. Fear about the future. You're seeing that, declining birth rates in America. You're seeing that people are frightened of, is tomorrow going to be better than today? I know when I was a child, I knew that the future was going to be better than it is today, and I built BlackRock on that belief.
That's a bunch of BS.
We need hope.
Our stage guys are agreeing with you, by the way. I saw them shaking his head.
Thank you, Larry. It's great to have you. Charlie, thank you.
There it
Larry
is.
Fink of BlackRock.
Larry Fink of BlackRock. Here we go. Larry Fink of BlackRock. There we go. Well, that was not really what we had hoped for. Definitely, I think everyone was hoping for a little more Bitcoin talk. Here's my takeaways. Larry Fink does seem very pro-Bitcoin. Whether that's a facade charade, who knows? It does seem that way. He doesn't really have any gain to fake it at this point. You could say, well, he's going to be bullish so that the ETF does well, I guess. But it 9 trillion in asset management doesn't really seem like this has to be the play. I do think some of what he said was genuine. There wasn't that much talk on it. I do love one thing about Fink. I'd never seen him speak before. He reminds me of Chirp Howe for one reason. He doesn't say this party or that party is doing something wrong. He is seems to be real in the sense of acknowledging that it's not a partisan issue. Most things in the U.S. aren't the result of a partisan conflict. They're a result of two parties doing the same crap and blaming the others. So I do like that. That seems to be tied to kind of the crypto connection. Maybe that's just my own thoughts creeping in, but it does seem, I don't know, I wish there was more follow-up, more details there. He said some great stuff. We got some great sound bites. We'll be seeing more on Twitter, such as Bitcoin is an international asset. I believe he said Bitcoin revolutionizes finance. Those are some interesting bullish things that I don't think he had to say. Damn, I really wish there was more update there. Not a lot, but I'll take it. We'll be following Fink in the future for sure. Definitely some goodies there. And we'll be watching BlackRock like a hawk, baby. If you haven't subscribed, liked, joined the Discord, please do that. Join our fam. We're live here all the time, giving you the cutting edge of analysis and crypto. Honestly, not a lot's going on. Looking at the chart here, I'm waiting to see, if you'd update, I'm waiting to see funding rates drop to negative at least briefly. We've seen that before each of the little rallies that we've seen before. Not seeing signs of it yet here on funding, remaining strong, at least according to the super chart on coinglass.com. Let me see really quick. Funding, yep, just slightly under neutral. Definitely not as bullish as I would like to see for like a rally to be locked and loaded. We have seen one thing that is interesting. We actually, on the live stream, Sol Funding, IO, open interest, drop on the rally, and I said, that's not great. That's actually the reason I opened the short. Since then, we've seen price decline, and we've also seen IO or open interest decline. And so to me, that's suggesting that we'll have to see maybe a strong move to the downside or move to the upside, but basically that traders aren't really looking at this sell-off as threatening yet. They're not really changing their positions. We've seen a good amount of longs liquidated. Shorts were liquidated before the pump, but I'm watching that open interest. If we start to see that rally, whatever direction the market is trending in, I'm going to be looking for continuation. But at the moment, don't really see much to go off of. I'm glad so many people joined us for that. It was fun. I love doing these. We have Chirp Howe in like 2 weeks. And I don't know, man. I'm recovering from the 4th of July. I hope you guys had a great time. I had a great time. We'll be live again Friday, if not sooner. If we get a crazy, spicy move, we'll be live on the fly. I love you.